What is going on? And happy Friday, everybody. We are here on our Friday night happy hour unfiltered conversations. Normally you see it on a Sunday night, but you're seeing it tonight. So, yeah, here we are.
And that's my fault. Sorry.
It's not your fault. We could have a happy hour with you for once. So we're like, why not? Let's do it. I don't care if you're drinking orange juice or vodka or whatever. We're just having a happy hour together and talking some history and helping us decide what we should read next. I have a wealthy stack behind me that I need to go through, so that'd be great to have your help tonight. But
Yeah, we're
how's
talking
everybody
history
doing?
starring Anthony's Wall.
Yes. Oh, and there he is.
There he is. And he's eating pizza. That's
Thanks for joining us.
Chips. Chris.
Oh, chips? I thought it was pizza.
No, he's truly helping us make
Yeah,
this
right.
a happy hour. He's even got the appetizers to make it better, you know? I love it. So hope you guys are doing well tonight. I appreciate y'all coming on. Darren, how's everything across the pond? Everything faring well your way, sir?
Yeah, very nice. Thank you very much.
That's what I like to hear. And Anthony, how's everything your way? Does it look clear?
Wait a minute. He's got his mouth full at the moment.
I know, that's what I wanted to ask him first.
Cold out.
And it's cold.
Please don't choke.
Well, you don't know what cold is down there.
Yeah, he's up in the mountains. He's cold. And Pennsylvania mountains are cold. Speaking of, how is everything your way, Josh?
Okay.
Good.
Doing well. I mean, I'm up here in the middle of nowhere. Had some friends come up on last Saturday. We did a bar crawl. Yeah, one of them ended up dancing in the street, and I had to drag him back. But it's interesting. And they trashed my apartment, but it's fine. I still haven't cleaned up yet.
Sorry, the last year, Darren can attest to this. It took me up until Cinco de Mayo to take my Christmas tree down.
It did, yeah.
Yeah, it did.
No. What happened to that Christmas tree? Because I don't think did it go in the trash or?
Wait, it was a live one?
No, God.
I was about to say.
No.
The brown tree sitting in your living room.
I was helpless by my own hand. Like, I could have done everything to go and get that tree, throw it away, or package it up and put it away for that year. But no. Instead, I decided to look at it all the way to May.
There you go.
Why? I have zero reason and zero excuse for it.
It's because you like the balls, wasn't it? That's what it was.
Oh, Jesus, here we go with that again. Those are an actual thing, folks. If any of you are watching from over there across the pond, yes, I understand now that they're called bull balls. But when he first told me that's what they call, I thought he was pulling my chain. I was like, "There's no way." Ornaments, the ball ornaments. Yeah, so they call them bull balls, and we were hanging them up. And he's like, "Oh, that's right, you're like hanging your little bull balls." I'm like, "What did you just say?"
What?
Yeah, like. That took me off guard for a second. I'm like, what, dude? Did you just say that? Anyways, that's not very historical of us, but whatever, it's happy.
There's a history behind everything.
You know what, Darren?
There's actually a history behind the Christmas tree. Because it's actually the Victorians that bring that tree into the house, you know. Prince Albert and Queen Victoria are the ones that have a Christmas tree in their massive house.
Yeah. Their house is pretty substantial.
To my knowledge, there's only one person in this group who has played Santa Claus. That guy.
I think that's a great starting point for tonight.
Where? Yeah, but he hasn't got the right colour beard.
He's just smiling.
Tell him.
It's not Santa Claus, it's Father Christmas.
That's right. You guys call it Father Christmas.
Harper's Ferry days.
I was
conscripted.
I got a picture of it somewhere.
I was conscripted into the
service of my nation. Tyler sit on your lap and ask what he wanted for Christmas?
There was a lot of gave it a lot of candy at Harper's Ferry.
I will say that the photo I got of you playing Santa, or whatever you want to call it, Saint Nick.
Yeah, Saint Nick.
It's a pretty good photo.
You have that, and do you have access?
Yeah.
Somewhere.
You need to find it, and you need to put it up. We need to name and shame.
If you send that, no, there's no shame in it.
I'm only joking.
Badass. I like this.
Anthony's got it. It's probably his Facebook profile photo at some point.
I remember seeing it.
It's actually pretty good. I mean, it's a very accurate representation of what
I want to see this.
They would have represented because he was. What were you, like 23, 24 or something? Like ripe age for a soldier. Perfect. It was.
And that's who would have portrayed.
Very good photo.
Holy shit!
There it is.
No kidding.
There you go.
I actually really like that coat, by the way. Like, you look like an American flag.
Very patriotic.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the first sketch of Santa in America was visiting the troops in '62, and that's what he was wearing.
Well,
what is he holding?
The Coca-Cola
in the Harper's Weekly. What is he holding in the Harper's Weekly illustration? He's holding an effigy of a hanging Jeff Davis.
Jeff Davis, yeah.
Oh, Father Christmas is being bad.
He's literally like sitting there in front of a Union soldier, and he has a little dancing puppet, and it has a hanging Jeff Davis on it.
Yes.
The thing is, when we think of Father Christmas or Santa Claus, we think of the Coca-Cola version. That's the problem.
Yep.
Josh, I can't help it. Dude, your shirt is so badass.
Party like a patriot.
Where did you get that?
I think my grandmother got it for me. I don't know where she found it, but she was like, "This is perfect."
Slightly to party like a traitor. How about that?
Hey, I mean, I can't deny that they were traitors by definition. But the problem is we won. You can trade that language from traitor back to patriot because we won. 1776.
July 4th is Happy Treason Day, you ungrateful colonials.
Yeah,
I love I love that. What is it? Last year he sent me that little meme with the American flag. He was like, "Happy Treason Day, you ungrateful colonials." I'm like,
no,
and this is the thing. Like, you guys will see Darren and I do this back and forth. We have done this since we have started speaking to each other. Like, this is just something that we do for fun. So there's no ill will. We're peaceful. I swear to God, we're peaceful. But full disclosure, like, this is something we do to joke around. There's no ill will.
It's banter.
Oh, Mark's good fun.
Yeah, Mark's had to chime in. Well done, Mark. Mark's on my side.
Okay, we could equally be on the same page there.
Mark's on your side.
Stab you in the back. That means that you're insinuating that the French were on your side in the first place. That's not stabbing you in the back. It's more like stabbing in the front.
They didn't get Julius Caesar.
Et tu, Brute? Sorry, I'm moving messages out of my image.
No, you're all good. Mark, well, thank you for being here, man. And Darren, you and I got to have a fun podcast recording session here a couple of days ago. Yeah.
That was last Wednesday. Was it Wednesday or Thursday? Thursday night.
Thursday night, that's right.
So we recorded a Titanic episode, which was a really, really good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that come out.
Listen to,
Well, I appreciate you having me on.
Listen to you anyway. Talk about it. So.
Yeah, it was cool. I didn't know I really had that much of the Titanic stuck in my brain, but good Lord.
And that'll be available in April. So, watch his space. But, you got a little bit emotional, didn't you, when we started talking about the park?
I actually did. Maybe that would be a good way to segue into tonight's actual topic.
That was. But basically what happened was we was talking about obviously the worst part of it, which is obviously when the ship breaks up and stuff like that, and just the thought of the people sitting in the lifeboats watching all of this stuff going on and being completely helpless. But then I think it was more about the children and the people that were stuck, that got to you a little bit and got to me as well, actually, just thinking about it and talking about it. And
sure.
Yeah, it's horrendous.
No, and that's,
think about it.
I've noticed that more, that it's not the first time. It wasn't the least. I've had it only a couple of times where this has happened to me recently anyways. And sadly, of all people, I thought I would never in my life even closely get tiny bit emotional for. One time it has happened with a Stonewall Jackson story, actually. That's kind of where that came from. We have Chris over there on Facebook saying "Evening from Savannah." Oh, nice.
Hello, Mr. Parent.
Are you going to be sending us a Christmas card from Savannah? Is that Savannah, Georgia?
Is that Savannah, Georgia? Oh, cool.
Yes. Yes.
Jay, thanks for sending that on Facebook, man. I'm going to go ahead and throw that up on the live stream too in a second. Thank you. But so the Stonewall Jackson thing, again, that was the worst possible thing I thought I would ever really have that crazy emotion over. Because I've given the wounding tour so many times that I've spent time talking about Jackson getting wounded by the 18th North Carolina and the 128th PA on the other side of the turnpike. The whole story. I've had that down. But talking about Jackson. With Jackson, exactly. Jackson. Yeah, I got you, man. Trust me. But when I got to the story of his family and then the situation that takes place at Guinea Station, that for some reason, like the first time I've retold that in a very long time, it hit me different. And I've told this story for 2, 3, 4 years, and same time never had that experience of feeling that. So sometimes they hit in history, and Titanic was another one where I was like, shit, man, I've researched this for a long time. I've been on the Titanic kick for God knows how long. Why now all of a sudden?
Yeah,
it was different.
I mean, have you ever had that on a battlefield or anything like that, guys? Because obviously, for me, Gettysburg really one time got to me. I just got out there and I just felt a real energy out there, and it made me feel sad, actually. But so is anybody else had that experience on a battlefield or a historical location where they've, felt touched and emotionally connected to the place?
Yeah. Michael Albright said, every time I tour and we end up there, it's always a somber moment. Yeah, it really is. It's just a weird, powerful place to be. And, even after, again, we tell these stories for so long and we've spent so much time talking about it, sometimes it just hits differently when you get out there. Andrea Quinn over on Facebook. Good evening, Unfiltered Historians. Hello to you.
Every day.
That's
yes,
right.
of course. You get that every day where you work. Yes.
Every day.
I was about to say, every day.
And
every day. I can't say where I work, obviously, or who I work for, but it's every day. I mean, emotional, and you should have that. Like, if you work at a battlefield or if you work at a park where that stuff happened, every once in a while you give these tours or whatever, and you do that stuff, you just got to recenter yourself of like, why am I doing this?
Right.
And it's because people were killed here for a reason, and this is why the country is better out of it. Because you can't just sit there and go, oh, these people died for no reason. No, they died for a reason. Because if you just focus on the death too much, you're going to drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, you really are. You're not wrong. That's a good point there too. Christopher Peck said, "For me, being in the place it happened brings more realization and power to their words."
And I had something similar today as well.
Did you really?
As you might have seen on my Facebook post, I was at the Battle of Britain Memorial site today, and inside they have an immersive experience thing, and of course they've used a lot of accounts from the real people that flew those planes up in the skies. And when the VT was rolling on, the Battle of Britain, they sort of went through a scenario where, the alarm would go, they would have to run to their planes, they would have to go up, and literally I didn't know whether there's going to come back. And, watching that put a lump in my throat,
Sure.
because it's the real story of these people that went up there and fought, and died for our freedom, and that gets to me, especially when it's the real person's story,
Ooh, that's a good one. Fredericksburg was a chilling place to stand.
Keyword that Daz just mentioned, by the way, our freedom, not just it's the freedom of the entire world.
That's right.
The Germans were trying to take over everybody. So it's the keyword, our freedom. Everybody who fights for that idea, not just Americans, but United Kingdom, Irish, all of United Nations, they all fight for the same thing.
And there was another point brought up by one of the guys that obviously flew in one of the planes, and he said, we don't see, when we went up in the planes, he said, I didn't see them as German. Actually, I saw them as a target. I didn't really even have that time to think that, I'm going to shoot down a German. it was a target.
Sure.
And it was trained into us, just get up there and get the job done and come home.
Yeah. Michael's brought up something really good. When people visit battlefields today, it's always so peaceful, and you have to remind them what it was like when the land was baptized in blood. And absolutely. I see a sunken road one. And, since I saw Fredericksburg twice, I'm going to deviate just really quickly to an experience Darren and I had, actually. When he first came here for the 159th Fredericksburg anniversary that we did together, where we covered quite a bit of the battlefield in quite a little bit of time. I mean, we crammed a lot into that. But before that even got to go underway, Darren and I went to the street before you get to the sunken road at night on the anniversary too. So we're here December, what was it, like 10th, 11th?
Yeah.
One of those days. And I started to paint a picture to him. I was like, think about this. We're standing right in front of the stone wall. And right now, this would have been bustling with activity. You hear the hums and the probably cacophony that is Fredericksburg during this time where it's burning, and there's people looting the city in wholesale numbers. There's bodies being taken out. There's their bodies laying in people's front yards and parlors. And I mean, it's just this carnival of destruction, if you will. And then up here on the hill, it's this focus on fortifying and preparing to combat what's going on in there at a later date.
And the funny thing is, I could hear that noise in my brain, when you said about it, I put myself there, it's really strange.
Yeah, it was. And even when I was just describing it to him, like, again, you two probably can attest to this. Like, sometimes we get caught up in the tour so much when we give it so often that we don't feel the experiences these visitors or these people that we talk to, or these tour guests, whoever might be talking to us, whether it even just be me and you, that they may be learning something new and it's getting this huge experience. Sometimes it's powerful when you have that moment too. And talking to Darren there, that hit.
Can you go back to the one here we go. I think disconnected. Focus on that word for a second.
Okay.
Warriors will show interest in smaller engagements.
Focus on the word disconnected for a second. You can go to a reenactment, right? And at the end of that, what do the people do that take a hit at the end do? They get up.
Walk away.
And they go home.
They don't. What is the one thing that can never be recreated? You can make the clothes. You can cook the food. You can make the material.
But you always get to go home, don't you? Yeah.
You cannot recreate the wounds and the death.
You can never recreate that. So
bagpipers playing on a farm.
There's you have to meet the visitor where they are, right?
Yeah,
you got to
absolutely.
center the experience around the audience, right? Audience-centered experience. You got to connect the person to the site, however they can personally connect to it, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has experienced change in their life. Everyone has experienced sorrow.
Sure.
Nobody. You can connect people that don't care about the military history to a battlefield. But
absolutely.
The one of the worst ways to do it is to go to a battle reenactment.
I agree.
I'm sorry.
No, agreed.
But like, let's go ahead. And then you sit there, and the guys are there, crawling around watching it. Like,
I want to say,
MJ chimed in too. She said, "Good evening." I'm like, she can probably attest just to what you said there. Like, there's also that big difference between living history and reenactments for that very reason too. Like you were just bringing up, so it's another mode of interpretation, of course, but it's so much more engaging because you're being able to get more of a personable and honestly the closest understanding.
Audience-centered.
I want to say a former supervisor of mine had a statement about this, and Anthony probably knows who I'm talking about. He essentially said along the lines of like, how dare you try to recreate the death of soldiers whom got shot with weapons we can't even conceive. We don't even have weapons that are the diameter of these muskets and these cannons.
Nasty
and
things.
He essentially said, don't ever do that. We'll do living history in the third person, talking about like, this is the experiences they had and I'm representing that. But I'm not going to go have you guys go out there and accurately or try to portray that, because there's no way you can ever portray that. And that's true with any battlefield. World War II, Waterloo, Revolution, American Civil War, all of it.
Yeah.
And you can't go out there and to Carentan and act like you're Captain Dick Winters experiencing what he did.
No,
you will never be able to experience what he saw.
Why would you want to?
Although,
yeah.
On the flip side, I am a fan of wargaming.
I know that's a fun. Not only is it fun, but there's also an educational opportunity there too, because you can.
Some might say though that you're corrupting history by trying to change the outcome in a war game. But
have you ever gotten that honestly from anybody? Have you really? Wow.
Do it every day by playing World of Warships.
But, anyway, I'm going to chime in now because I am a reenactor. I reenact at least 7 or 8, events a year. And for me, okay, you're never going to be able to replicate that part of it. And yes, you get to go home at the end of the weekend. But for me, it's to go in and being with your friends, coming together, sharing that experience, but also sharing that knowledge with people that might not know about that.
I mean, that's how I got. That's how I got into Civil War stuff. I did reenacting from when I was 15 to 27.
And just as MJ has mentioned as well in one of her comments,
I see that there.
Good comment. It's about connecting with people and the stories, and sharing those people's stories and and then they carry on.
You light a spark in somebody.
Yeah, right. And you do that as guides as well, don't you? Wherever you work or whatever you do, you do that in your everyday job as well.
And you do that with the thing on your shirt.
Exactly.
That's right. Yes, you do.
Podcasts, living history,
and that's what we're about. We're about spreading the gospel history and trying to educate people and and again, one of the biggest reasons I started was the reason people were trashing history really pissed me off, and I thought I'm not having it.
Good.
Go and learn about it first. Don't stand there slagging things off when you don't know anything about it.
Go ahead, Darren. I like it. You preach to him.
Spread the inside,
Spread the gospel.
I bring up a thick book, and I figure you would appreciate the book I grabbed.
And I'll tell you this:
awesome.
I would reenact American Civil War or English Civil War, even if there was nobody watching.
Hell yeah! No, and that's what makes a difference.
If there was nobody there, if there was one man and his dog, and there has been that on that occasion in a rainy day, I would still do it.
Right.
Regardless, because I love it so much. Just love connecting with my friends, and it's a getaway, isn't it?
Bayonet.
There we go.
It's the only thing I have in the apartment right now. But I got a full set too.
As Spencer Cohn once said, "In charge, give them the bayonet." There you go.
I was like, where do I have anything that's reenacting in here? And the only thing I have is a bayonet because it can help me defend my apartment.
He said, Daz just described last Saturday for me. So much rain.
And of course, the best thing about reenacting at 5 o'clock when the crowd goes home, I go and get absolutely slaughtered. And you know what? What's great about our reenactments is we do like multi-period events. So there was a couple of events last year where we've got the Sheppey Pirates next door. Let me tell you guys, that bunch are.
I remember the videos y'all had of that.
Well, I ended up in their tent and I was drinking out of a cup shaped like a penis. and they're passing around the homemade mead and everything. It's an absolute laugh.
Dude, holy shit. Anyway. Our reenactments are boring compared to that. Holy shit.
The thing is, from what I understand, you're not allowed to drink on the land or anything, are you?
No.
See, the thing is, we don't have that. Yeah, So we always have a beer tent at an event, always.
Fuck,
and you'll go in the beer tent and you will literally have every era you've ever thought of standing in that beer tent. And that is absolutely fantastic. The only problem is sometimes when you got the Nazis walking around, there's something wrong with them people. But, I mean, I've had to hold, my mates had to hold me back a few times because I want to go and knock them out, I mean, what are you walking around? And they even walk around like they've got a stick up their ass.
Hey, well, I've shared my connection to Mussolini on here, have I?
But honestly, it's fantastic. And, yeah.
Okay.
And the German,
No, honestly, they do. But, do you know what was really strange? Last year, they banned anyone Russian. Last year, because obviously sometimes people represent the Russian World War II units and stuff like that.
Russians were the good guys during World War II, though. Not so much right now, but
not now.
Yeah.
But honestly, fantastic. You have to come to one of our shows one day. They're amazing.
If you're not wrong. After 5 in Gettysburg, yes, absolutely.
If you pay for the airfare, I will come over there.
Oh, definitely. And there's one of them we go to. They even have a helicopter field. So they had
Productions wants to go to.
They had an Apache helicopter. They had a Chinook helicopter in the field next door, and you could literally go next door into this field and just like they'd show you around the helicopter, and it's amazing. They didn't take you up in them because there's insurance, but And then they're in the beer. Well, I'm a bit worried anyway. They were in the beer tent at night getting drunk, so. I don't want to get in the helicopter with him the next day, but
I can just see Darren because I've had the pleasure of sitting at a bar with Darren before, like him seeing a Nazi walking and go, "What the fuck?" And just
But what really cracks you up is you go and have a piss in the toilet, and you're standing next to Vikings and everything. What the fuck?
I mean, I would be probably the same way if I saw a guy walking around. Oh, I'm a German, huh? Do you want to get knocked out?
I mean. No, there are guys that do like
that's an easy way to get
German soldiers, but there are ones that walk around in SS uniforms and that, and you just think, "What are you doing?
Go take that off before you come in here." MJ's got a really good comment over here. She's the best part of living history for me is receiving emails from parents who brought their kids to a program of mine, and they do a school project on Civil War history now. That is a very rewarding experience to have too, I think. Like to know that you were able to inspire somebody and have their kids even begin doing projects or reading about it or having even a passing interest. That's a victory in your court. Yeah. So no, definitely, that's awesome.
To talk about inspiration, what are you currently, and folks who are watching comment as well, what are you currently being inspired to read?
So now we're segueing into the reading portion of this. Of course,
I'll get mine go very quickly.
Inspired?
I'm not at the moment.
What are you reading? What?
Nothing.
Mark said at Quattro Bra a couple years ago, we took a leak at the outdoor urinal, turned around, and there was Napoleon at the next trap.
That's it. That's right. I remember that.
What?
Oh, do you know what the best thing they have at these? They have these new outdoor urinal things where you stand there. And
wait, hold on, stop. We're gonna have another language debate, Darren.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. Don't apologize. Can you please? What was that?
The what?
The what? What did they use?
Oh, sorry. No, they have these new urinal type things. Like a pisser. Where you piss, and they're like these. They're like
urinal.
They're like these. They're like these weird spaceship type things. But like as you're standing there, like there's about 4 of them around. You're standing. You can have a chat with a bloke the other side, having a whiz.
Napoleon's just
hello, mate. What are you doing?
Hello, General Lee. How you doing?
Yeah, right.
I'm good. How you doing?
You're pissing in the bush anyway.
You're there standing between Grant and Lee.
Yeah, imagine that.
Wellington's over there, Napoleon's over there. And
I've never seen Napoleon, but I meant, or I've never seen Napoleon or Wellington, but Mark has.
Hopefully, while he's been awake.
Sears' book on Chancellorsville. That's a good one. I'm more of a fan of Ferguson's book over that one, but that's not a bad book.
Can you go to Liz's? Can we finish off the other conversation? Go to Liz's comment real quick.
Sure. Liz says the best compliment an educator can get is to see the lights come on in someone's head. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I will applaud that myself. Absolutely. To be able to see that, the aha moment or that light bulb moment click on somebody's head. That's.
Yep.
Or alternatively, when you're talking about death and gory first account, and you're like, ooh. Yeah.
Or alternatively, they look so bored that they're going to die, and they wish they never asked the question.
We've had that. Of course. I love that.
Okay, we got, what are our readings? We got CCC.
Ooh, CCC's good stuff.
We got Cushman and Hancock. We've got Chancellorsville. We've got Too Many Books, and we've got Barlow.
I was interested. I started reading this.
Yeah, let's talk about what Josh is reading. I'll try to get mine up.
Even though, the guy, it's pretty much fiction because, it says in the beginning, oh, yeah, half the conversations are fake. I was interested in, got it from my parents. They bought it for me, and I was like, sure, I'll read them. But then I was like, I don't know much about, the topic around turn. the show.
Good show though.
It's a good show
on Netflix,
and so I'm interested in it, and I want to see like how Kilmeade and probably Don Yeager, whoever wrote it, probably more than he did, write about. I'm drawing the blank on the guy's name. The Samuel Woodhull and the Secret Six.
Wasn't that
and how they operated against Darren's guys right here and won our revolution?
Setauket?
Wasn't that weren't they based in Long Island?
Setauket, maybe Setauket.
Yeah, Setauket.
Yeah,
they were Long Island.
I think so.
Yeah, they're spying on Hal in New York City, I think.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, Liz said my home turf on Long Island, Setauket. Abraham Woodhull. Yeah.
Abraham Woodhull. That's it.
My gears were when you said Samuel Woodhull. I bought it for a second, and I'm just like, I think it's Abraham. It's like I said, General Ricketson, Captain Ricketson. Anthony called me out the other day.
I just started reading it, so
it is Long Island. Okay, very cool.
Abraham Woodhull.
And I talked to Liz about this too at one point, where I was like, is this book that you're reading really worth it? And we kind of came to consensus. But I would like to hear your input on it too. I want a Turn.
Have you watched Turn?
Very much so, sir. I have a friend that worked with the Capitol. When I was at the Capitol, who worked in the House Press Gallery. He was a British soldier in Turn.
When I was working as a seasonal in Petersburg in 2016, they were downtown Petersburg had two competing sets in it. On one side was Turn, on the other side was Mercy Street.
That's right. They filmed Mercy Street.
That's very interesting. You go from 21st century to 19th century to 18th century within about a minute.
Yeah.
I know a couple of people who were in Mercy Street. Like, they just took random reenactors and put them in there.
That was a good show. I like that.
Mercy Street was pretty good. Have you ever watched Turn, Darren?
Folks in the comments, chime in with your favorite period TV show.
Yeah, we'll go with that until we get to the books.
Yeah, go for it.
They filmed in Williamsburg, too. No kidding.
Darren, what are some? Well, I forget. Can you the show? I forget the name of it, but a couple weeks ago you told me to watch a documentary.
Yeah, so there's a documentary series called "The Rise of the Nazis," which was shown on BBC. It's 3 series, and again, the first series looks at the beer hall meetings and the rise of the Nazis, basically. And then in the second series, it focuses on Hitler and Stalin bashing heads.
Okay.
And that is fascinating. And then the third series is sort of like the downfall in a way, they start analysing his pictures and stuff like that. But what they do is they have like a military expert on each person from that, from that group of people, like Goering and Hitler and all of the people, and they all talk specifically on one person.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just such a good program, But yeah, it was BBC that put that out. It's really good.
Someone mentioned Paddington from Patriot.
Somebody mentioned Sharp.
Paddington.
Yeah, I saw Sharp up there too. John Adams was
Sharp.
Brilliant.
That's marked at.
What is Sharp?
In actual fact, you've heard of the 95th Rifles, which obviously Sharp's based on. The guy that founded the 95th Rifles has a monument literally down the road from me. I'll go and take some pictures of it.
You should. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That's a great show.
So,
that was an amazing show. Yeah.
I have a book I'm reading now too, and I don't know if I talked about being on a World War I kick the last episode I was on, but I've gone off the deep end with it, and I'm reading some primary source today actually, and I'm reading Ernst Junger's Storm of Steel, which is a German soldier's account of World War I and his experiences, including the first day of the Battle of the Somme, which I had just recently got a really big panorama of that I need to figure out what the heck to do with, because this thing is, but it's beautiful. It's like, it's huge, but it is very cool. So this was a welcome addition. I've at one point in my life, I had a copy of this, but I've never got a chance to read it. And the copy I had didn't have Karl Marlantes' foreword. Now, I don't know if any of you know this or not, but he wrote a very good novel of the Vietnam War. So it's not a fiction book. It's not one that we're going to be using for sources by any means. But his novel was a very good depiction of kind of the day-to-day life of a Marine Corps grunt in Vietnam. So that was something that was worth reading, and I would, read it again if I had the chance to. But I got a hold of The Storm of Steel, and I was like, you know what? I'm going with that one. But yeah. Anthony, what are you reading?
Well, let me ask you. I just finished a book about Lexington and Concord where we beat up on the Redcoats pretty good.
The Minutemen.
Yeah. So I want to ask the audience and you for a vote.
Right. Well, firstly, get the bin and chuck that one in it. No, I'm only checking.
There's a quick
get a set matches.
So option 1.
I'm heading to France on Monday.
Hello, Brandy Station.
Oh, that's a good one.
Option 1. This is option 2.
I know what he would think of that one.
This is option 3. So you got Brandy, folks listening, comment. We got Brandy Station, Redcoat, Auschwitz, 1270.
That one might be quite upsetting.
That's why I've been putting it off.
Yeah,
I love you too, Kyle. Thank you for your comments.
Yeah.
There's this book.
Ooh, Mad Dangerous People. Why does that sound very familiar?
There's this
what
book.
Was that?
My roommates.
There's this book.
You've got too many. You've got too many choices, Josh.
Braddock's defeat is pretty interesting.
The last one
too.
was written by a friend of mine.
Hi, Josh. God, you were so close.
The last one written by a friend of mine.
Faces of Union Soldiers at Antietam.
And inscribed.
Oh.
So
he wrote one called Faces of Union Soldiers at Fredericksburg, right?
Yeah, there's a few, isn't there? About there's one of Gettysburg as well. I think, is there?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Josh.
Right, so
I'm back. The VPN kicked back on. It really does not like Restream.
I know Restream's very iffy with some of the VPNs out there.
We got one vote for Braddock so far.
Lexington and Concord is one of the only times I'll allow people to rave about militias during the Rev War.
We have
one vote for Redcoat.
We have an Englishman commenting Redcoat.
Yep. Readout Productions at Braddock's defeat by
to Eric Wittenberg, guys. I am actually going to do a podcast about Brandy Station and Jeb Stewart's Ride Up North, which is in the planning stages at the moment. He's agreed to do it, so that'll be coming out in June at some point.
So then,
you mean his ride in the papers?
That's the one.
Yeah, but a fuck.
I told you there is no time for that.
We got
told you.
Braddock is winning.
Yes, it is. I told you that would win. I was there when you got that, and I told you to get it. But if you don't get that, I'm snagging that book.
Again, Braddock's defeat is important for this guy.
Arguably,
it's important for all of
us. What would you call that? His come to Jesus moment.
I think
that's what
this guy, and then he defeated the British.
Okay, so
Hardy said anything Eric J. Wittenberg for him.
The commenters have voted. What
Braddock.
Do you four say? What do you four say?
Oh, I'm going Braddock, buddy. Braddock, then Brandy Station. Brandy Station has to be your follow-up, though, because that book is phenomenal. Wittenberg's Brandy Station book is great.
All right, so is this the winner?
Riding up north, getting his name in the paper.
This is the winner.
Yes, Braddock's.
There'll be a devil to pay. A high ground.
I have that shirt. Civil War Tees. Yeah. Civil War Tees make some good shirts. I'm going to give them a plug really quick because they're awesome. But I have one of the shirts that has the Buford and Reynolds on it, and they're both wearing party hats, and they said, "Let's go surprise Harry Heath with balloons in their hand." It's one of the great.
I love that.
Me too. It's great. Michael on Facebook says, I've published 2 books with the History Press and working on a 3rd, so definitely go with Brandy Station. I have 2 of your books, sir. They're fantastic, too. So I'm glad to have those.
Well, we have the winner is Braddock. So
yeah, the winner is Braddock. I thought you said Bragg for a second.
Not in real life, but
get stuck here.
Forbes over Braddock.
You're welcome.
I want to get a Batman costume, go up in the cupola, and start quoting Sam Elliott as Buford lines. Yeah, Michael, absolutely. I enjoyed both of them. Your Chancellorsville one is actually in reach right now because we're coming up on a big date for that. Which I will be out on the battlefield doing some 160th stuff, so we can have some battle featured there. That'll be fun. We'll make sure we talk about what happens at Chancellorsville during the 160th, and especially in 1863 on those 3 days in May. Yeah, there's a need for it. So I would love to be able to
make sure you get yourself out to Salem Church, seeing as how it's at the end of your road.
Yeah, it's a far walk, isn't it?
Jeez.
Yeah,
no, it's not a walk.
Yeah, you learned that.
Chancellorsville was 3 days? I thought it was only one casualty, and Jackson's the one who got killed.
Well, boy, can I not wait to have
one person
160th. I can't wait. No, service is absolute horseshite out there, so it's not going to be able to do anything at all when it comes to like live videos. But what I want to do is I've been doing these 1 minute bits recently and just throwing them up on like TikTok and Facebook. So I'll try to do something like that for Chancellorsville at like each location, just like do a minute and be like, "Hey, we're here. Jackson got bodied right here by his own men. Get wrecked, scrub."
This
and
is
the
get wrecked, scrub.
The bivouac site.
Yeah, the bivouacs.
Bivouac site.
When you go on live, not to say bivouac.
Yeah, no kidding. We struggle with that because we've said it so much jokingly that's where Lee got a little wet willy from Jackson before they last saw each other.
Look over there, the 80th anniversary.
Yeah, we have. We got the Dam Busters.
That's right. Darren and I were talking about that briefly.
Me and Mark are going to do a podcast on that, so watch this space. It's quite cool, actually. Quite a cool thing. So a British RAF unit were secretly trained to drop a bouncing bomb on dams in Germany.
Mm-hmm. That's incredible. I'm excited to look. Did you see the parachute bomb I shared on the Unfiltered the other day, Darren? That was a massive fucking bomb, huge. Dude. I was like, I don't want that to land in my front yard. No, thank you.
No.
Could you imagine?
That was massive.
Yeah, and like, that's the other question. Like, how do you dispose of that? How do you be like, hey, who do you call the county? Be like, yeah, the Germans just dropped this giant parachute bomb in my front yard in my garden. Can you come do something about that?
Thing is, they still find World War II bombs now. You know,
I'm sure they do.
All the time. You know, they have to call out a bomb disposal unit if they find one.
I'm sure in France and Belgium very definitely. Similar. Yeah. Hey, Mark, I want to show you something if you're still here. You guys have this thing called Battleground over there by Pen and Sword Books. Does that sound familiar? Darren, to you?
Show me that.
They look like this.
I've heard of Pen and Sword, yeah.
Yeah, I got a Pen and Sword book today on St. Milo.
They do a lot of military books, yeah.
Yeah, no, I got this one today, which is about the American Expeditionary Force in 12 to 16 September. And I have one on the Argonne Forest as well, and they're pretty darn cool. I knew it was UK because the first thing I see is £15.99 on the back.
Yeah, I think I do actually own an English Civil War one of Pen and Sword somewhere.
Do you really?
Yeah.
See, I look every time Anthony Cannell's note that when we go to the bookstore, I look for those.
That to Noel Harrison actually.
Did you really?
Yeah. When I came over in August.
I need to get some English Civil War stuff. I would like at some point, once I get off this World War I kick, if that happens, because I'm pretty deep down that right now.
Well, with all the money you've invested.
Yeah.
It hurt.
All the money you can save.
Yeah, but you know what? If I have an addiction in this world, boys, books are quite okay to call that. I'd rather it be that than something else.
Sorry, I'm on a metal kick right now, and you said money, and I immediately thought, ding, Slipknot. Speaking, yeah, good, swallow her good.
So, Anthony, you're going to be reading Braddock. Is that the conclusion we came to? That you're going to be doing Braddock? That's awesome.
It's just a grand old time of the beginning of Washington's great career in life.
Washington is a great man. Darren, I'm sorry we're talking about Washington right now. But...
That's all right. I'll let you. He's 3 against 1, isn't it? So, you know.
Well, in your defense, we were third priority on y'all.
Exactly, you were. We was more interested in, you know, our massive empire. Yeah. So anyway, You was a thorn in our backsides, basically.
I apologize. Damn, tonight would have been the night to wear the Sons of
But
Liberty
you know what?
shirt.
The Canadians never got away, did they?
No.
You know.
No,
Well, they didn't want independence. They fought against us in the War of 1812. So they were like, "No, we don't want to be free."
I know they did. That was the nuts part.
But nothing to boot that.
I heard that. What does Readout say? Then you can pay a visit to Braddock's grave.
I have been there.
Give you the full tour. You've actually been to Braddock's grave.
Yep. A unit of Fort Necessity National Battlefield.
So it's within the National Park Service.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. That in Jumonville Glen and Fort Necessity. Yep.
So you're welcome to the United Kingdom. We are preserving the grave of Edward Braddock. For perpetuity.
And you know what the UK is doing? And Darren, maybe you could take a few minutes to talk about that, actually, because that's a very important thing you got going on, the monuments and everything.
Oh, the monument thing, yeah.
Yeah, since we're talking about protecting monuments in the United States, let Darren tell you about something.
My co-founder, Gina Denham, who has a great-great-grandfather who fought in the American Civil War, George Denham. He fought in the 111th Pennsylvania, was at Wauhatchie, was at Lookout Mountain, and all that stuff. Anyway, she does a lot of research into obviously these British Civil War soldiers that then came home and settled back in the UK afterwards, and then are buried without headstones. And the other day, she found two in my hometown of Folkestone in Kent. But the one she's found up the road from me is actually American, because he was born in North Carolina. But he did the reverse. He moved over and settled in England, sort of thing, after the war, instead of, like some of the British guys, obviously they fought in the Civil War, then they came back to England, settled back in England. But this guy's met an English woman or something, and he settled in Folkestone. And I've actually found his grave, and it's unmarked. And it's only 5 minutes walk from me, and we're going to get this guy a headstone and have a dedication.
Isn't that awesome, man? You're actually getting that taken care of.
About that news article, wasn't I, Tyler?
You were
telling you about that she found about him falling over in the street, and he actually died in the street. So the reason the newspaper article, his name's Henry Harrell. He was found literally on the same street of the cemetery where he's buried, but he collapsed on the floor and died in 1897, I think, something like that.
Okay.
And so he's because I was telling you about the news article, wasn't I? And I didn't understand why it was in the news, and now I know, obviously, because he died. It was just like one of those sudden death things,
That's sad, especially to fall in the street like
buried,
that.
Completely unmarked grave. I think I've got a picture somewhere. Hang on.
That would be cool. If you want to send it to me, I can actually put it up on the stream so it's clear.
Because obviously, I traipsed around trying to find it for ages, and luckily the cemetery have an interactive map. The other guy that was a rear admiral in the USS Navy, in the US Navy during the Civil War. I can't find his grave yet. I've had to email the church to try and see if they have record. I have his plot number, but it's hard to find.
Daz, you said you're going around marking graves or trying to find graves?
Yes.
That's a mission of the Sons of Union veterans too. They can probably
that's
somebody.
Now,
they can probably send you a GAR marker.
I will bring up a point there.
We do have
Sons
some
of Union Veteran London branch are very unhelpful towards us.
The Sons of Union Veteran London branch.
Come on,
right? And I'm not going to say any more because I don't want to upset the boat even more. But they're not. They're just not very helpful towards us for some reason. I think there's an air of jealousy there or something, that we're doing something that they should be doing, and they've got the ump.
That's actually the mission of the SUVCW is to do exactly that, and I don't know why they're fighting you on it then. They need help.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. But we're growing really fast, and we're doing a really good. And what Gina's doing, I mean, Gina's got a massive booklet of all of these guys, and she sits there in the evening researching and tracing their roots and everything, and she's doing an amazing job. I mean, I don't do any of that. She does all that.
He wanted a photo bomb from me, so we do have a cat in the.
Stop playing with your fish.
Darren. He's excited to be on screen. Look, Deku, you want a few minutes of screen time? You want some screen time?
I'm going to send you a picture of the piece of ground where Henry Harrell is buried.
All right.
An American Civil War veteran as well. Like I said, not British American. But even though we're still going to get him a headstone. Because technically we're called Monuments for UK Veterans of the American Civil War. But still, it's a US Civil War veteran. He gets a headstone. That's it. And I get to have a dedication in my hometown, which I'm quite excited about.
No, that is exciting. I'm curious about that. Will the U.S. Veterans Administration send you a headstone?
Yeah, so they send us a headstone for free. It's cool. Customs that try and sting us, but on the last occasion, Gina managed to talk them around and explain to them what we're doing, and they waived the custom fees. Our ultimate goal, and again, where George Denham is buried, her great grandfather, when she found him, it was unmarked as well, and it was like the wilderness. Basically, they had to trim it back. They had to, mark the grave and everything. There's 7 more in that cemetery, one of which we rededicated last summer. So there's still 6 more without headstones, and that's it. There, that's devastating to me. I stood there nearly crying.
That's his gravesite.
That's his gravesite. There's nothing there. That's the exact spot. But in maybe a year's time, there will be a federal headstone there.
Yeah.
And for me, when I started doing all this, I couldn't dream of like there being one in my hometown, And I know it sounds a bit weird, but like that's that direct connection between Britain and the Civil War,
Right.
No, that connection exists
right there.
Yeah, it does.
And when people come to reenactments in the UK, they're like, "Why are you doing American Civil War?" And now we've got that connection, and we can say, "Well, actually, this is why."
Oh, cool. Read out Dad, if you want to plug that link. If you have a link to the Monuments Association, send me that so I can put it in the comments. Read out would like to have a link for that.
Yeah. And we actually have one coming up at the end of April for a guy. I can't remember his name right now, but it's another one in London, but it's a different cemetery. It's at Manor Park Cemetery in central London.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's our next dedication. And eventually, like I was saying about the other cemetery, the one in North London, eventually we've got agreement to have a central monument. And it's going to commemorate all American Civil War veterans that fought in America, British veterans that fought in the Civil War.
That's awesome.
That's not just Union, that's everyone that fought in the Civil War. So it will be, we're going to do it so it's not marked with Union, it's not marked with Confederacy. When you go to that monument, if you want to commemorate the Confederacy, you can go ahead and do that. It's up to you. You know what I mean? That's our plan. We're going to commemorate all of those guys that fought and died.
Yeah, make it just kind of encompassing.
It's going to be it's going to be neutral.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad you got that going.
I do have some pictures of what it's going to look like as well. Actually,
I'd be happy to see them.
So
we all would. This is a really cool effort.
And we're trying to get funding for this. We've managed to raise 3,000 so far. And we're going again because we reached the goal for that one. Gina had a lot of costs. She puts her own money into all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and so she had to recoup some of that. But we're getting there, and we probably need a little bit. We need another 2,000, I think. So we're trying to raise funds, and me and Mark are actually putting together a march that we're going to do in October this year. We're going to march 20 miles in Civil War kit. We've got other reenactors on board. It's going to kill me, but I'm going to do it because I want to raise money.
Yeah. That's
20 miles is about what AP Hill marched from Harper's Ferry to Antietam. 17 miles.
Mark's reenactment group did a similar thing last year. Unfortunately, Mark's heel of his foot got so badly damaged he couldn't finish it, as he'll tell you. And I saw the picture; it was horrendous. But they replicated the march from Quatre Bras to Waterloo, and 3 of them finished it.
Really?
In full Napoleonic gear. So
this shows how tough they were.
Yeah, exactly.
And our soldiers today are that tough too. I mean, they have to march 10 to 15 miles with pack in a certain amount of time. They still do that. It's very impressive.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm just upset that the said agency is not helping. It's exactly what they're supposed to be doing. It's helping with exactly that.
You would think. Daz, you said you have a couple pictures, right?
Yeah, I can't find it at the moment. Give me a sec.
Take your time. No, you guys want to make sure before I move forward. Anthony,
No,
would you like
to talk about something else for the moment, and I'll
all right. Well, cool, because we have Readout chiming in too, so we can see what he's saying. A team of living historians did something similar a few years ago. They made the march from Fort Ligonier to Bushy Run battlefield to commemorate how
He's in Western Pennsylvania.
British moved over Chestnut Ridge. It's toxed him.
Bushy Run and Ligonier. I know exactly where that is.
All right, that's
the link anyway. As well as the link, guys, I did a couple of podcasts with Gina, which are on my YouTube channel. So if you go to American Civil War and UK history, there is a play, and also the because I filmed the dedications live as well. We live stream them. Last year's one is actually on there as well. You can watch the whole thing if you wanted to.
Hardy 1863 also says that's where he is from. He said, and you didn't butcher. Oh, I didn't. Awesome. I thought I was. That's why I said it so quiet. I was like, I'm probably gonna butcher the shit out of this, so let me not say it.
Ligonier.
Awesome, dude. Hey, that's the first time and the only time I'm gonna get something right like that. We completed a great justice of our culture. Now go and rest our.
You proposed a question, and I was like, I've been thinking about this. I think it's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Something interesting about history, right? Weird or interesting about history.
Sure.
I learned this today. The marble that is for the Flight 93 Wall of Names is the same marble that is used at Arlington National Cemetery.
Really?
Yeah, the architect actually got the same quarry to bring the same exact marble as the DoD uses. So I thought you guys would enjoy learning about that. That's pretty interesting.
Very interesting.
Talking about memorials.
All right, Daz, that's up.
Okay, so that is what's going on the front of our. That is the actual what is going on the front of our monument.
Nice.
We've got a soldier. Obviously, we've got a woman because women are involved in the Civil War as well, and a sailor. And so that's going to go on the front of it, and that is the actual one. So Gina was really lucky when she did it. She traced the in the footsteps of George last year, in April, and she met a guy in Chicago, which happens to be a sculptor, and he has done that for us, and he sent us over the. They're just like the plastic. What are they, molds or whatever they are? And Gina's painted them up.
Oh wow!
So eventually, it won't be. We obviously we can't put it in bronze or anything because someone will probably nick it. So we're going to do like a sort of a bronze mixture type thing to go on as a plaque, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go to the next one, that is what it will look like.
Nice.
That is very cool.
And also inside, I think there's going to be there's some scripture that's going on underneath, and I can't remember what we chose, but we have chose something, some wording. But also we're going to have a time capsule that goes inside that as well.
Really?
Yeah. And the dedication is probably a few years away yet, but yeah, that's exciting. You know.
Yeah, that is really cool.
But yeah. It's a cool thing to be involved in, and again, without reenacting, I wouldn't have met Gina. You know.
Yeah, Readout said something. He said, "Flight 93 National Memorial is so fascinating as an interpretive challenge, as it is the only ground where many visitors feel similar to what it would have been to visit a Civil War battlefield late 1800s." I never even thought about it like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a way to really. Yeah, no kidding. And then Readout production.
I would. Wait a second.
Put your phone on Do Not Disturb, son.
I would push back slightly at that last point. It was our country attacking. It was our country. It was our country attacking itself, not being attacked by terrorists.
Yeah, that's not what we're laughing at, by the way.
It's a different feel than civil war versus attacked by a.
Yeah,
I think Readout is pointing out that it's a connection to what we all in this group right here have experienced.
It was in our life.
So they're saying like
That's the second part.
Oh, hold on.
That's his second message. Yeah. That's his second message.
Oh, you want the first one?
This is the first.
Okay,
I'm saying what you're saying focuses on this one, where the visitors are not disconnected to what happened.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm sorry, but that's my fault. I was reading.
I think it's different to visit a site where the country fought itself and expecting to die, right? Battle equals expecting to die, than going to a site where 40 people, Americans, German, Asian, did not expect to.
Yeah.
Yep. Plus, also, I would argue that we are not disconnected from the war. People may think they're disconnected. No. In reality, everything that has happened from the 1860s till now can go back to what happened then.
Absolutely.
I mean, you got Jim Crow, segregation era, Civil Rights Act, all the way up to now.
It starts at the founding of the fathers. You know, it carries on. You know,
and the British would blame them too.
It's all connected, isn't it? You know, at the end of the day, it is. Yeah, exactly. You know, this is the thing that's always got me about. We're going to dive into slavery now. Sorry,
right? No, go ahead.
Right, because at the end of the day, the British are, they weren't too sure whether the Brits were going to support, the Confederacy, But what's always made me laugh about the whole thing is our economy was tied to the cotton. Without that cotton, who's running the Industrial Revolution? So, even though we wouldn't have got involved, but then we've taken a stand against slavery. It didn't make sense to me, because at the end of the day, we needed that cotton,
Yeah.
Sorry to bring that up.
No, you're good.
Oops. I think also people disconnect themselves from battlefields because they don't connect it properly.
Audience-centered experience.
It's
God won't allow it.
Go ahead, Anthony. Make a statement.
Yeah, go ahead. He's just smiling.
My parents are at my cousin's wedding, so they're trying to FaceTime me, which is why.
Go ahead. If you want to go FaceTime for a second.
They can't connect to the FaceTime in upstate New York. Not my fault, but
yeah. If you pop off, we know what's going. I mean, it's at that point, anyways. We are already an hour and 5 minutes into it. So, Darren asked me earlier what the F was this music, so we're gonna find out what the F this music is.
Oh yeah.
I don't like it. This is what I was playing. This is awful.
Sounds like terrible elevator music. Please turn it off.
I am. Dude, that's better. I don't know if I like that either. I feel like Anthony would be like one arm down the wheel just bumping this in his car. This is awful. I'm gonna see if I have.
Can I play something?
If I don't get DMCA, sure. Darren, poor Darren.
Turn it off. Anyway.
It's something we stole from the Brits. Except everybody knows the other version of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the British version of the song?
That's what Francis Scott Key had in mind when he saw a flag go up.
Well, the British national anthem or the English national anthem, "God Save the King or the Queen," was actually
Why not?
French.
Hey, Anthony. You want to close this out with another one of your jokey jokes?
No.
Yeah, it's time for Christmas cracker Anthony.
Out, haven't we? We've all got to do one, yeah.
I know. I agree. Everybody's got to do a dad joke before we go tonight. So get some up. You know, Anthony's got a bunch of Christmas cracker jokes.
Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, I've got a really good one.
I can start. Go ahead.
I'll start. I'm afraid for the calendar, its days are numbered.
Oh, Anthony said.
All right, go.
Boom.
You're up.
No. You're up.
No, I'm going last.
Point at you.
I always close it out. So you're up.
I didn't prepare for this. This is.
I don't have one, so don't even ask.
I don't mind.
I'm going through.
Well, if you're not.
All right, fine. You know what? I asked my dog, "What's 2 minus 2?" He said nothing.
Turn the camera off. No.
Josh,
I got a smile out of him.
Where can I go?
No.
Well,
Okay.
now you're endeavoring
Go ahead.
to go.
All right, ready? 2 slices of bread got married. The wedding was amazing until someone decided to toast the bride and groom. I'm terrified of elevators. I'm going to have to take steps to avoid them. What did Tennessee? The same thing as Arkansas.
What
Thanks,
do you
everybody.
call it when a
That was
snowman
one you
throws a
shared the
tantrum?
other week.
Hey, what do you call it when a snowman throws a tantrum? You call
A
it a
snowball.
meltdown. No, a
meltdown.
Anthony, how do you make 7 even? You take away the S. Don't you thumb them down because they were better. Liz has one. What did Delaware?
A New Jersey.
Josh just left us.
What did Delaware?
No, the VPN kicked on again.
I can't take it anymore.
What did Delaware? A New Jersey.
Was it in New Jersey?
Delaware. Yeah. In New Jersey.
This graveyard looks overcrowded. People must be dying to get in. Hey.
Thank you and good night.
One more. I have a joke about chemistry.
I've got a really good one, actually.
But I don't think it'll get a reaction.
No, wrong. Not for me.
Darren, yours is our last one for the night, pal. Okay. Pressure is on, dude.
Did you know the first French fries were actually cooked in France? Weren't cooked in France. They were cooked in Greece.
I
fucked it up, didn't I? Because I said it wrong.
Wait, one more.
Oh,
I went to a restaurant on Halloween. The service was pretty slow. Then I realized it was a skeleton staff.
I hate that one.
Why? Sorry. Why didn't the skeleton go to the party? Because he had nobody to go with. During I said that in Jamestown, and the bloke looked at me funny.
You said it right in front of one of the skeleton remains.
Yeah, I said it in front of the skeleton. I said that joke in front of that skeleton.
God, look at him so bad.
You know something? I wanted to make an alligator last night, but all I had was a crock pot.
I know, dude. They do, Darren. I swear. He did say that. That broke me in the visitor center when he walked in. He was like, "Oh, he had nobody to go with," and this guy's like, "Oh man."
Trying to have a serious day out, and I come in.
He said Darren wasn't even next to me. He just you could hear it it's like in-game proximity chat, if you will. You just start hearing him come up and tell this joke and sort of walk off. And just,
He died bombed you.
He did. I'm sitting here trying to be so serious and admire them. Like, wow, I'm this close to Bartholomew Gosnold right now. And Darren's telling me he couldn't go to a party. This is why they won't let you have cameras in there. Everybody that is tuned in tonight, thank you all so much. If you guys are watching after or listening after, we also appreciate you. And make sure you tune into our next live so you can comment and talk with us and listen to these god-awful bad jokes.
Or don't.
They probably turn it off as soon as you start saying Christmas cracker jokes. Just
you started all of this. This is
hey, wait a second, dude. Before we go off tonight, Josh, where's Lincoln?
Hey, let's have Lincoln tune us out.
Let's have Lincoln close us out.